guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle, where Leah is losing her mind or has found it or lost it due to internet issues.
I don't know what's going on, man. It's like it's one thing, it's another thing. So we're going to try to get...
Today is the 10th of May, 2019. It's a Friday, where we're going to do our weekly roundup. A lot of things have happened this week.
Yes.
Namely,
there's a shooting in
the
Colorado.
school shooting in Colorado. Horrific.
Yeah.
We are going to try to showcase a little bit more the hero, Kendrick Castillo. Amazing guy who laid down his life. And
he rushed the shooter.
Yeah,
so there's a lot that has come out. We know that the shooter was 16-year-old female transitioning to a male. That her father, and I could...
Devin Erickson.
Would absolutely love to bring up the articles. If some of them are up, some of them are not up.
It's very strange. It's very selective.
It's very...
The internet.
This internet is very selective.
I don't like this site. We are not allowing you to get to this site.
Yeah, so I have a Daily Mail article up where, and this is probably it. It is. The shooter's father is an illegal immigrant deported twice.
Wow.
Once spent 15 months in prison for domestic violence against this shooter's mom.
Whoa.
Yeah, so there's a lot.
There's a history of violence there already in the family.
So we're going to show, and please ignore any pictures. I can't help it. Daily Mail is trash. The Mexican father of alleged Colorado school shooter Alec McKinney, 16, was jailed for domestic violence and deported twice with his son. They're calling him son. She is a she. She hasn't transitioned yet, from what I understand. She just wants to be a boy. And this is one of those cases where I don't believe that we're serving the child, doing the child any services,
right,
when they're already mentally disturbed, and we're going to say, well, we'll go ahead and call you a boy.
Right.
We'll go ahead and call you a boy when she is obviously mentally disturbed enough.
Yeah.
And so for the world to say, but you're not mentally disturbed enough to know your gender.
Yeah.
You know that. Even though you're a school shooter, your dad is a convicted felon. You have some mental issues in other areas, but this one
right.
you know
right.
you're spot on.
Well, and that goes even farther when it comes to anything. We have a double standard for if a child wants to get an abortion without their parents' notice, they can do that through school. But if they want an aspirin, the school cannot peddle that. Oh my gosh. No way.
So that's her dad. Jose Elvis Quintana. That's the shooter's father. And he's only 33 years old. So
wow.
that's
young guy.
Kind of, Alec, it's really hard. I don't want to be accused of misgendering, but obviously with a person who's in this kind of mental state, how can you, even the mom, this is what the mom said, where's my daughter? And he said back, well, where's my dad? Missing his dad several days ago on social media.
Wow.
He posted on social media that he was missed his father 11 days before this Tuesday shooting, May 7th. Which saw McKinney and friend Devin Erickson, 18, allegedly kill one student and injure 8 others. Born a girl called Maia, turned 16 on April 14th, and so basically 15 years old. Yeah, just turned 16.
Young, very
young. My mom, this is what she posted on Twitter, April 26th. My mom talking to me about how she hates the new Alec. Mom, I miss my Alec. Can you find him for me? I miss my dad. Can you find him for me? And she must have said, I'm guessing she said daughter.
So this is
the mom. Her mom.
Wow. It's always difficult because you want to put some responsibility on parents, but this situation seems a little bit extreme. Sometimes things in life just crumble before you, and you keep trying to pick up the pieces and they keep just slipping right through your fingers.
Right. So, Quintana, he was deported in 2015 for the second time, and he posted on Twitter, the son did, daughter's son, and I wonder why my dad left. Alec the son may have been the victim of bullying at school. On January 25th, 2019, he posted on Twitter, F STEM kids, I swear effing God. Swear to effing God. It's been revealed 5 months before the shooting, a district official urged the school's executive director to investigate allegations made by a mother who was concerned that student bullying could lead to the next Columbine. December 19th letter said the anonymous parent had raised concerns about student violence due to a high-pressure environment. Wow. It added that the mother had told Douglas County School Board of Education Director Wendy Vogel by telephone that many students are suicidal and violent in school. Several students have reported sexual assault and nothing is being done. Let's see. The letter referenced an alleged bomb threat that in an extremely high drug culture at STEM. The parent also said she was worried about a repeat of what happened at Columbine. It had been the 25th anniversary of the Columbine massacre on April 26th this year. And the school hired a lawyer and told parents February 1st it was looking at taking legal action against the unnamed mother who had made the accusations.
What?
I know. In the interview with CNN, the mother, who still wanted to remain anonymous pending legal action, said, when you don't listen to parents' concerns, when you don't support teachers' concerns, when you don't give teachers the kind of training that they need or support that they need, those are the elements that we need for the perfect storm, something like Columbine or some kind of imminent threat to our children's safety.
Wow.
Very interesting there. Just before Tuesday's attack, Erickson and McKinney allegedly broke into the gun cabinet at Erickson's parents' home. And this is her as a little girl.
The shooter.
She's the shooter.
It's heartbreaking. You know, and also, I would hope, she's 15, guys.
Well, 16.
It's 15 or 16, whatever. Your brain is not fully developed until you're in your 20s.
No,
okay? I think that there is some compassion that is to be had here for a mentally disturbed young child.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't think that I would appreciate it in the comment section if you would not be passing sweeping judgment calls on a mentally disturbed young child.
Who was obviously with the father, who was an illegal alien, illegal immigrant,
right?
You know? So Devin Erickson, an 18-year-old high school student who has worked as a youth actor in Colorado, was identified by authorities as one of the two shooters accused of wounding 9 students in the STEM school shooting. And then the 18-year-old Kendrick Castillo died heroically in the attack after confronting one of the shooters.
Amazing.
In court for the first time on May 8th, Erickson bowed his head, his purple hair dangling over his face. He's facing more than 24 charges. He shook his head to answer some of the judge's questions. At one point, he answered no when asked whether he had any questions. The second accused shooter has been identified as Alec McKinney. You can read it. I see. She is identified as Maia McKinney. And see, here's the thing. Alec is identified in court records as Maia McKinney. Why can't I call her?
You can.
What court records are calling her, that is her name. Her name is Maia McKinney. According to court, she is a girl. According to the court, she's going to be in the female juvenile section. She is a girl.
Right.
And she was abused, I'm sure, as a child by this man, you know, because he went to jail for domestic violence.
Amazing.
That's abusive to the children and to the whole home.
Right.
15 months he served in jail.
And I want to point out that, you know, by and large, a lot of times when you see these kids that are trying to transition, it really is just a cry for help.
Help me, love me.
I was abused. Something is wrong in my life.
Me.
You know, Stephen Molyneux, and I plugged this after my Bible study the other day, did an amazing segment on this, calling, you know, for the fact that we have this big push for compulsory public school systems. The idea that we would hand over our children's education to the government makes no sense whatsoever. Schools, at the very least, should be privatized so that there is competition. We have the Lord of the Flies. He also talked about something that's near and dear to our hearts that no one talks about, because if you do, somehow you're some sort of, I don't even know, moms not staying at home.
Yeah.
We have a society of motherless children who are not being raised by their mothers.
So this is her Instagram, that gay kid Alec. So here she is identifying as something,
right,
as someone to get attention, to say somebody loved me. And it says, if you're a STEM kid, F off.
Right.
So obviously she has some anger there. On social media, Devin Erickson, a registered Democrat, already registered at 18, expressed hatred for some Christians and shared posts criticizing Donald Trump and praising Barack Obama. And that is why the media dropped this like
and that's
a
the thing
hot
that gets
potato.
me. If it had been the reverse, they would keep playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it. If they were pro Donald Trump, you know, it's amazing that they...
You know what I hate? All these Christians who hate gays, yet in the Bible it says in Deuteronomy 17, if someone doesn't do what their priest tells them to do, they're supposed to die. It has plenty of crazy stuff like that. This person wrote in one Facebook post a couple years ago, but all they get out of it is, ooh, gays. In 2015, Erickson put a celebrate pride filter into a Facebook picture. Now, my question is, what's going on between these two? Okay, he's got the blue hair. He's the one that wrote that. The gays, and is he gay? Doesn't say. Right. He's got the rainbow pride. So this is where you have another case of maybe this is just my own theory.
Yeah,
she is a she realizing that she likes being with this guy who's gay. So then she's like, "Oh, I'll be a dude." Right. So literally, you have. This is a heterosexual relationship.
Posing as the homosexual one.
Exactly. Let's see. These are some of his posts and just about praising Obama here, against Trump here. And then, so this was a horrible, awful shooting. There's a horrible, awful moment in our country, but the Colorado shooting was immediately trounced upon by the anti-gun leftists who started what the students thought was a vigil for the Kendrick hero.
Yeah,
and instead they heard politicians going over and over again about the need for gun control. And so you know what these young people did, and I'm so proud of them. They walked out. They got up and they walked out and they went outside and they held up their phones in the air and they shouted, "Mental health, mental health."
Wow.
Students had a vigil for the STEM school shooting in Highlands Ranch. Now remember, this is a STEM school. So he hates being at school.
Right.
With all of these kids.
Yeah.
So the shooting in Highlands Ranch reportedly walked out of the event after Democrat politicians Jason Crow and Michael Bennett made remarks that the students said the tragedy was being politicized. And I'm so proud of these students for saying, you know what? And I made a poster, I think I did. I said this. We know these kids are mentally not sound. That's why the whole school is saying, I have goosebumps, mental health.
Yeah. Not gun control.
We know that guns didn't do this. We know these two kids. I guarantee you, I'm not there, but they know these kids. They went to school with these kids. Yeah. You guys remember being in school.
Yeah.
If they're chanting, I'm going to take their words over everybody else. If they're chanting mental health and they know that so-and-so is transitioning and he has problems, I'm sure, with a lot of the students there, you know that one kid in school. You know that they are not mentally sound. You know that eventually they could snap.
Right.
It's not politically correct to say that kid's going to snap one day.
Well, and here's the thing also, since they have brought homosexuality into this, I understand that there is homosexual bullying. I'm not going to say that there is not.
No, it's wrong.
And it is wrong. That being said, even when I was going to school, the kids that were coming out as homosexual, they were kind of cool. And you wanted to be their friend. It was strange.
Right.
But it was true. I don't remember anyone ever making fun of, and I know it happens. I just was never party to it. I never heard it. I never heard anybody bashing so-and-so because they were gay. Okay. Ironically, a lot of these, especially the girls coming out as lesbians, they're married now. I know who they are. It was a fad, it was a phase, and they were doing it for attention because their home life was awful.
Right.
Okay. And
that's why don't we talk about that?
Right.
Because it was a phase starting in the 90s, not even in the 80s. If somebody is truly gay,
right,
there's a difference, okay?
Right.
But there are a lot of kids who want the attention, and we have to be able to, as adults, to be able to pull kids aside and say, are you doing this because it's you, or are you doing this to get attention?
Right.
I remember in a school of like 1,600 kids in high school, there was one girl who said she was a lesbian, which nobody believed her. Right? She wanted, we always thought she wanted attention. And one gay kid who we probably all thought he was really gay.
Right.
Okay? And he got a lot of attention, like you said. But here's a video I want you to play. Oh, we have that on? You can't really hear them right now. Here we go.
It'll come up in a minute.
Here we go. Let me just rewind it so you guys can kind of hear what they're chanting. And so a lot of these kids were just frustrated with this politicizing of their pain, and they have one of their friends is dead and 8 of them are injured. So these are the students just walking out like, look, they're just upset. Why are you doing this to us? We don't want to be part of the gun control. It was supposed to be an interfaith memorial vigil for the shooting victims. We didn't want Kendrick to be a prop. We wanted Kendrick to be mourned. We wanted all of you to join us in that mourning, but that was not allowed here. Kendrick Ray Castillo was killed when he and 2 classmates charged one of the shooters. He was days away from graduation. Some of the students who walked out held their own impromptu vigil in the rain. This is what a hero looks like. This Kendrick kid, you can just see the smile on his face. I want you to see this kid's face one more time because his smile is infectious. You can just tell that this is a good kid. Let's see, where's his picture? Kendrick. There he is. Kendrick Ray Castillo. Look at that kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't even look 18.
Right.
But something in him said, I got to stop this shooter.
Yeah.
You're in a moment. You look to the 2 kids behind. You look to 2 beside you. And you all decide in a moment. You don't think. You don't say anything. You just say, my life for their lives.
And you know
stop
why?
This shooter.
Do you know why he had to use his body to rush? Because the teachers were not armed. And so, in my humble opinion, his heroism should actually be a cry for having schools where teachers, if they choose to be, are allowed to be armed. Because you can't fight a gunman with your body without risking your body. You can fight a gunman with a gun without risking your body. And so to me, it actually makes me angry. Because what is a teacher supposed to do in that situation? It is not a responsibility for any teacher to be a hero to throw their body on a gunman. Nor is it a responsibility of any student to do that.
Witnesses say he didn't hesitate to rush the shooter as soon as he saw the gun. Let's see.
You know, we only have 31 people here watching, and I know that it's because we have this in the title because it's being squashed. I think that a lot of you that are here probably are here because you know we go live every Friday at 6. But I'm going to guess that there are a lot of people that aren't getting notifications tonight because this is something that the media doesn't want talked about because we're right.
Right.
We're right that this school shooting proves the argument that citizens should be allowed to be armed, because you're not going to stop bad guys from getting guns. I know they're saying, well, these kids got these guns from Kendrick's, house. And if Kendrick's house didn't have guns, then this wouldn't be happening. Well, guess what? Have you seen the internet? If these kids didn't use guns, they would have found some other way to set a bomb or something, okay? Mentally deranged, or using knives or machetes or cars, okay? Like all the students come out of school and they plow into them with cars. Mm-hmm. It's not a gun argument. It's a mental health argument. And that's the issue.
So his dad says, it doesn't surprise me. He cared enough about people that he would do something like that, even though it's against my better judgment. I wish he had gone and hid. But that's not his character. His character is about protecting people, helping people.
Wow.
Kendrick's friends and fellow students share the same sentiment. Every time I see a new kid that is in shock or crying, I ask, but are you surprised? And they say, no, I'm not surprised at all. I'm just mad because I didn't want him to have to do it. But of course, he was going to do it.
Wow.
Hayes said she remembers this is a other teacher, Kendrick, as an unfailingly kind student who cared deeply about everyone, who tried hard in school, and who wasn't afraid to have fun and be goofy. Kendrick is probably one of the funniest people I have ever known. He's really quirky and sweet and quiet, but not really. He's one of those kids that he knows the appropriate time to be quiet. And then when it's appropriate time for him to just be a total dweeb, he's a total dweeb. He was always joyful, his old teacher said, and funny. As her trove of goofy videos of Kendrick proved, she said, the only time when he was not joyful was at parent-teachers conferences. He tried hard in school. He loved technology and excelled at science. Math was harder for him. He would get really serious at the parent-teacher conference.
Hang on, wait. It said he would take his responsibility so seriously that he would cry.
Oh.
Wow. Very deep soul, it sounds like.
Yeah, very deep soul.
Somebody said he was the neatest kid.
Says he was a hunter who loved his elk hunting trips with his father, and his familiarity with gun safety may have given him additional courage to actually rush the shooter, but you're not going to see that. He
angry.
Was a hunter.
Right.
Who knew about guns and knew that they were deadly.
Right.
And that's probably why he rushed, because that's why Mom said, teach kids gun safety. Mm-hmm. Teach them how to shoot a gun. Teach them the power of a weapon.
Yeah.
Right? So, anyways, I would, his parents loved him, his friends, he loved his faith, and he really loved to serve others. So, he loved his Catholic faith, and so I'm just praying, although he couldn't picture himself as being a priest, he said the way of life of a priest is simply beautiful. He truly was a living saint. So our hearts and prayers are that he went straight into heaven.
Oh, yeah.
And that, when you know that you're going to go to heaven, or it kind of is easier.
Hang on, though. And that's the thing, to be perfectly honest with you. Somebody that is not sure of where they're going, of the afterlife, of a relationship with God, their courage to rush a madman with a weapon, it's not going to be there. Right. If you already know, listen, I'm living out of heaven. I know where I'm going. Maybe these other kids that could get shot don't, and I've got to lay down my life to give them an opportunity to know Jesus Christ. This is a martyr of the highest degree.
He was an altar server, a young usher, and a favorite greeter at the doors of the church. The deacon says that, I was thinking about John's gospel, where it says that there's no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends, and that was Kendrick. In religion class, Haynes says Kendrick was pensive, hungry for the faith, and always eager to play Jesus whenever they acted out stories from the Bible. He always wanted to be Jesus.
Stop it! Get out!
In a video from her class that she posted on Facebook, Kendrick acts out the part of Jesus going to search for his apostles or to confront a suffering person, blessing them with the sign of the cross and inviting them to join him. I have this amazing scene where he found the two apostles, and they're all kneeling in front of the camera. Kendrick is peering in the camera, and then he does the sign of the cross as everyone is watching, and he was so serious about it. While religion can sometimes be a difficult subject to teach junior high kids, his teacher said that the whole class was really on a spiritual journey that she got to witness. They really wanted the faith, and they weren't afraid to ask tough questions and to be stuck with some of the answers.
Wow.
Wow. So that, I think, is why this story's dropped, because the hero is a Christian who used guns, who hunted and used guns.
Yeah.
So to do a vigil, and this all makes so much sense now, to do an anti-gun vigil for Kendrick is literally stepping on his grave and who
Heroism.
he was as an interfaith. Well, that would mean Catholic, Jewish, Christian faith.
Right.
Because he was Catholic, it should have been a predominantly... Here's the thing, if somebody dies giving their lives, you do a predominantly, whatever that person is, vigil. So it should be a predominantly Catholic, Christian vigil.
Yeah.
And it should have been about Kendrick and probably saying that he was a hunter. You didn't have to say that he liked guns or knew guns, but you should have put that in there for him.
That his familiarity with weapons might have given him
the courage to rush the shooter, knowing where to go, knowing what to do. So that makes so much sense now that you have the whole story here at Resistance Chicks and why the anti-gun lobby actually was shut down.
Wow.
With those kids walking out, they apologize.
Right.
So
Resistance Chicks Mama says, many, even thousands of genders, pronouns, or as God said, many are the ways of the unrighteous, or ways to do things wrong. There is only one right way to do anything. Mental health. Who is causing the mental health on purpose? The extremist, terrorist, the new far left, transgender, pedophile, drag queens, LGBTQ, taking over public schools. Political correctness, the lack of God and morals in education. Jesus came to save our souls, give us the mind that knows right from wrong. Well said.
And you have people all over Twitter talking about gun control, but that's not what he wanted, tagging his name in it. That's not right.
No, it's not right.
Let's see. This is not going to come up, is it? One of the other kids here talked about tackling the shooter, but of course it's my internet's going to be not.
Is it
fun.
the internet or is it just this story that won't come up?
It's a bunch of other things. It's my internet.
Redneck Survivalist says the liberals that brainwash and indoctrinate them. Well said. Here's the deal, guys. I want to encourage any of you that have children in the public school system, at the very, very least, all public school systems offer free online education where you can pull your kids from this rat race, from the Lord of the Flies, and get them away from. Now, that being said, I think that the curriculum there is pagan. You know, it is. I don't think it is. It is. And there are a lot of co-ops. There are a lot of groups that you can join to help you homeschool your child. Our mom did it as a single mom who worked full time. So if she can do it, I don't know that anyone else has an excuse, to be honest. You can homeschool your kids during your off hours. It doesn't take that long. A kid does not need 8 hours a day of schooling. It's wasted time. We were done in 2.5, 3 hours a day. Okay. It's not a lot of work that has to be done to educate your child. And that's not 2 or 3 hours where you have to be there. That's just you being a guide. Our mom, once we got to a certain age, didn't have to be party to it at all. We were able to pretty much teach ourselves using the curriculum that was before us. So we always encourage, if anybody has any questions on homeschool curriculum and how they can get started, you can email me at massfaith33 at gmail.com.
All right, so this is Brendan Biley. He gave a news conference Wednesday.
Is he the second hero?
He is the other hero, and he is friends with the with Kendrick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there goes my... We're going to watch it. I go over here.
Kelly says, I homeschooled my 3 children all the way through.
They turned us into politics about gun control when we came here to respect our brother Kendrick. We came to what is happening at STEM is awful, but it's not a statistic. You can't be used for a reason for gun control. We are people, not a statement.
Wow.
Everybody's been sitting here talking about gun violence and avoiding the fact that we died. Castillo was the kindest, gentlest soul that she would ever met. That means that students are supposed to have a place at the table. Students are supposed to be
is incredible. It's truly incredible. And it shows us that we are Spartans, damn it. We know what we're doing. When the school shooting happens, it's the adults that take it into their hands. They don't let
You turn to the side so they can read it, so it might be difficult.
I strongly disagree with that. When the victims are kids, they're 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, all high schoolers, all middle schoolers, and school. I just want to give everyone, you deserve a say. You deserve to decide what our future is, not the adults. Thank you.
You already have my thoughts and prayers, but you deserve and should demand more.
We feel this way because all of us are now gun violence survivors. Unfortunately, for some of us, this is not our first experience as survivors, because it has become our unimaginable reality that gun violence is now so commonplace.
We are failing when this happens over and over and over again.
We can go into lockouts, lockdowns, and we don't even blink. We don't think about it. And the boys at STEM, their response, what they did, our kids are good at this because we practice this. Because that's the only thing and the only change that we've made in 20 years is how we respond and what we do when we're locked in those buildings.
I know our kids already have enough to do. They have a job to do when they come to school. Their job is not to fix America's broken gun laws.
Then why are you using them for your
Their
agenda?
job is not, as Kendrick so selflessly did yesterday,
Who
give
used
up
a gun?
their own life
Who hunted?
to save their classmates' lives.
We can kind of skip a little bit. Oh wait, I missed the part where they...
Having a call, Miss Milford will go out and then we can try to make a plan because we want to raise voices. So thank you. Here, as you can see.
At this time, we'd like to dim the lights and please let your candle or use your phone.
Students began leaving the hallway and the gym and gathered outside the school.
However, the media just took all of our STEM students and sent them outside. So I love everybody who is here. Wait, I'm gonna stop everybody because I don't know what's happening, and I love what you did for our kids, and I love what's happening here, but I don't know what's happening with our babies that are now outside. The media sent them home. The media said you need to go outside.
Hello, everybody. Hi, if you'd like to leave now, please feel free.
So I want you guys to know something, that while millennials are incredibly liberal, this Generation Z, they're coming up to be some of the most conservative in
It's
our
really
generation.
encouraging, actually.
More conservative than the 50s and the 60s.
Do you know why, though?
Social media.
Well, no, not just social media, but it's in children not to want to do what everybody else in society
rebel.
is doing.
To rebel.
They want to rebel. So they're not blind. When they see the mainstream media and all of their teachers and all of the actors and actresses out there all on one side.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, you know, there's a Lecrae song that I love that talks about rebellion, and there's you know, all these things that we considered rebellion. That's not rebellion anymore. Everybody's doing that.
Carry a Bible.
Carry a Bible. That's the new rebellion.
Well, Paul Joseph Watson said that the conservatism is the new counterculture.
Exactly.
I'm gonna finish this video because these kids are really.
Yeah, this is
I'm
really
really
powerful.
proud of them.
Yeah.
This is the opposite of what happened in Florida.
He says we want our voices heard. We're not interested in politics.
I understand there's a lot of emotions going on. But in this time, whether
I love that nobody's turned the lights on yet.
or another, I just feel in this moment that if you can pull your light out, please cut it off. Your phone, any light that you have, if you're still in this room, and I want to read something. That light works too. I'm cool with that. We can keep all the lights on. Let's go. But I want to read something out of the Bible. John 1:5 says this: "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Whether what happened tonight happened, you still have a light that God wants you to shine.
That media, I can't handle this.
Will you pray with me? Dearly Father God, we're just so thankful for this moment.
Who's
God,
this guy?
Our hearts are broken.
Like a coach.
There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of questions that are circulating in this room right now. And we're going to trust that it's not about fighting against each other for what we want, but it's fighting together to make a difference. God, our light is brighter than this world's darkness. And once you add one light to another, it's brighter and brighter and brighter. God, be with us in this time of need. Be with us, God, where we need you most. Show up in the middle of the mess. God, we thank you so much for loving us. Be with us.
I love
today,
America.
tomorrow, forever, God, because we need you. We all say amen. Thank you guys so much.
I'm just in awe. This
Castillo was one of those friends. I met him 4 years ago, and since that day, he's never ceased to amaze me with his extraordinary compassion, charisma, and kindness. I was with him just minutes before welcoming him as final class. I remember saying goodbye, sad that there were so few days left. Yesterday, I found out that Kendrick's senior quote was, "The most difficult roads lead to the most beautiful destinations. The best is yet to come." At the time, I couldn't help but imagine all the beautiful destinations he wouldn't be able to enjoy. But now I realize that this is our difficult road. And I know that he's going to those places with all of us, because we are going to carry him in our hearts forever.
These kids are the best.
We love you, Kendrick. We will remember you ever and always. All right. See you guys. Thank you.
Wow.
This
You know,
is what
to me-
real leadership is. These kids, I was brought tears to my eyes to that entire thing. I couldn't stop watching.
I have to tell you that it's so encouraging because after what happened in Parkland, which was also a tragedy,
it was politicized.
It was politicized.
Angry, violence. They had the town halls, and I think that the gunplay people want to do the same thing here. These kids
aren't having any of it.
They realized that it was darkness against God, against Christianity, against goodness.
Right.
And it was. Here's the thing. It is mentally disturbing not to want love. These kids show that they do love, that they do care.
Right.
That child whose father was one of the kids, whose father was an illegal immigrant, arrested, felony charged domestic violence, abused, I'm sure, at home.
Right.
Wanted attention and hated these kids because of the light in them, because of the love. These weren't cool, popular jocks. These were your nerdy kids. I know these kind of kids.
Right.
I know this situation, you know? These aren't your cool, popular kids. These are just regular kids.
Right.
And so this child who did this was just angry at the world and wanted to do something and wanted to have a name for themselves, wanted to have attention. And Mom says this all the time, that especially when you know Jesus, when you die, you don't go anywhere. When you know God. And when that child said that they're going to carry around Kendrick with them, he wasn't wrong.
Right.
And the fact that these children did this and they said, we're taking this narrative back, the gun control lobby had to leave. They're done. They're done. They realized they can't touch this. Why? Because the power of God showed up.
Yeah.
The love of God. They're like, they know that love is what will stop the shootings.
Right.
They know the light of God is what will stop shootings, not gun control.
Right.
Go ahead.
So I was just checking out the website of this school, STEM school, Highlands Ranch, because I kind of wanted to get a feel for, because we understand what STEM is.
Did you bring it up for them to see?
The science, technology. What is it, Leah? Which one is it?
Oh, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Thank you. And it's very interesting that within that, we have such a Christian base almost. It seems like I'm kind of fascinated by that. So I wanted to see if there was anything that we could read about on their website to kind of see. It says that they had a 3-year strategic plan for STEM School Highlands Ranch. At the heart of this plan is their purpose is never stop innovating. I don't know why the light just went off.
Matt.
Oh, Matt blew a fuse. We prepare the next generation of innovators by putting curiosity, critical thinking, innovation, and creative problem solving at the center of our motto, curriculum, and culture. Core beliefs. We equip students to succeed in an exponentially changing world. We leverage the power of collaboration. We relentlessly reinvent and adapt. We forge pathways of discovery through continuous inquiry and experimentation. And we nurture unlimited human potential. We ethically and positively impact the world. Strategies and actions. I just kind of wanted to get a feel for what kind of school is this that has students like that.
You can tell these are different kind of kids.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys are more than welcome to, here's the school, STEM School Highlands Ranch. You can peruse that.
And why this kid, if the shooter hated STEM kids, it was a STEM school.
Right. I don't know.
I think what your point of reading that was to show that, it's a values.
Yeah.
It was a values-based school rather than just a regular public school.
The kids that were there for purpose. And what we see a lot of times in just standard public schools is so many kids lacking purpose. And children that have purpose are independent thinkers. And kids that don't have purpose often are led like sheep to the slaughter, which is what we saw in Parkland, I think.
Right. Well, actually, I had meant to show this one, but we're going to move on. But I played this one instead. I don't know why I ended up playing that one, but I'm glad I did because that was really powerful. So I didn't know we were going to go that much into this.
Jesus Gonzalez says, when the Boy Scouts taught gun handling and the kids got guns for presents, they understood and had respect for these tools, hunting varmints, etc.
Exactly.
Britt Baza says, when was the last time a gun loaded itself, waited for an opportune moment, then jumped out from a locker and decided to shoot someone all by itself? Obviously, never. Donna Terry says, the shooter will have an opportunity to repent of his sins, it's a her, and accept Christ. Everyone will have an opportunity. It is up to the individual. There's a he and a her, but obviously.
The school actually is K through 12.
Wow.
So it's a smaller community school.
Right.
And the other person who stopped the shooter was Brendan Bailey, who was a U.S. Marine Corps recruit.
So also, I'm sure, familiar with weaponry.
Yeah. So,
amazing.
So, also, car towed from the STEM shooting suspect's home apparently has F Society spray paint on the side, also 666 and what looks like a pentagram sprayed on the hood.
Wow.
So something demonic happened that day.
Right.
Something spiritual happened that day.
So Patriot Galler says the way in is the way out. This should end school shootings according to my theory. Columbine, the first shooting was in 1999. It was a couple of miles away from this school.
Listen to this. One of a student who knew both suspects said this. Devin did not do what he did because he's liberal or to make a statement. He did it due to internal struggles. They're both struggling with mental health issues, and this is a time for awareness. Alec did not do this because he's trans, but had people supported him in the way he needed and deserved, he would not have struggled so much that he got pushed over the edge.
I like this, that there are millions of gay and transgender individuals in our country who do not violently attack people for their opinions, but the suspect's ideological and theological opinions certainly seemed newsworthy. And that's the thing. It wasn't just because they were trans or being bullied or whatever. They had mental health issues.
If these two young men were conservative, Trump-supporting Christians, you can most definitely bet that information would qualify as a front-page headline.
Absolutely.
But noting they were satanic, transgender, homosexual. Obama supporters did not make the front page.
Right. It's a shame.
Well.
But you know what, though? To me, I don't even know that needs to make the front page. Okay? Whether they're an Obama supporter or not, my beef is the mental health issue that we have arising amongst our young people. It's sad. I'm sorry you can't get to all your websites.
It is so frustrating today. I can't even tell you.
Donna Terry says, who in their right mind would want the government to be the only armed source? Very good question.
I don't even know how to spell Stefan Molyneux. Okay. I'm going to have to unlog. I wanted to play just a little clip from Stefan Molyneux. I just have to keep reconnecting. It's absolutely insane. But Stefan Molyneux talking about Mother Stay at Home and the... You can come.
I'm sorry,
you can do it. Come
on,
baby.
Stuart the Brit says, as the left start to realize that they are losing, they will go more and more insane and blame everyone around them.
Yeah, exactly.
There he is.
So I actually listened to this the other day, and I don't think this is a really good title for this, but other people listened to it because of it. But
this is the video I was talking about.
Right, exactly. No, this is the video you're talking about. And I don't know if I can get to just one section where he talks about what's going on in society and how kids are kind of lost and they're kind of finding their own way through life. And when you're a child and you're trying to find your own way through life, you're gonna have some bumps and bruises along the way because you're not designed to do that.
So there's been another school shooting, and I know the data. I know that there's arguments that they're becoming less common and so on, but nonetheless, I had a visceral reaction to this and I'll share it with you guys and let me know what you think. So, police identify the suspect in the Colorado school under its care custody.
Let's see.
You can end up driving down the wages of men. That way you can tax women.
Here we go.
But the government does such a great bill because it's based on taxation.
There we go. Sorry.
The other was in a white hoodie with writing, quote, all over it. Imagine that there was a business out there that catered to children where regularly children got gunned down in the hallways. Can you imagine such a business surviving? Can you imagine any kind of corporation or entity or organization other than the state surviving the mass repetitive shooting of children under its care, custody, and control? Can you picture
the fact that you're mandated to go there too?
The way that we have allowed government education, quote education, not education at all, it's just indoctrination,
well said.
Alienation. The way that we have allowed these people to take over our children against our will, because it's based on taxation, right? It's not chosen, it's not voluntary, it's just something we inherited from 150 odd years ago when people wanted to let the government take over education because it was just going to get so much better. Back at a time when in Massachusetts 98% of the adult population was literate, and you had a population chewing down such robust pieces of literature as Moby Dick.
I love this.
Thomas Paine's The Rights of Man, and Dickens was being consumed. Dickens was a superstar. Further back, you had a population that consumed Shakespeare. And then we said, hey, well, the government does such a great job with war and debt and stability and defending countries these days, right? That, hey, let's just turn over our kids to the government. Let's just let the government raise our children.
Well said.
And in particular, when we said, let's get women into the workforce so that they, with their additional supply, without additional demand, you can end up driving down the wages of men.
That he made so many amazing points. I just want to bottle it up. Like, Mom's like, I was watching this, and it was like, oh my gosh, mom. He literally just said this. You had a 50% additional supply without additional demand, so you could drive down wages. And then he goes on to say, so that mothers could go sit on a phone being customer support while your children, and it boggles my mind.
Do you know what I think about when I think about moms doing that sort of thing? When I think about a mom doing just about any job, they're overqualified.
Oh, yeah.
Moms are the most qualified human beings on the face of this planet for anything. Okay? I mean, just about. The skills that get downloaded within them when they have a child, mentally, emotionally, you can take, and I've seen it, the most mentally slow, average, let's just say, okay, amongst average people, the lower end of mental capacity. They have a child and their mental capacity increases.
Yep.
It's scientific. I've seen it. Okay?
Well, I've seen it with the animals.
It's incredible what happens. Okay? So when I see a mom who has this qualification to do the most incredible job that God ever invented, which was to raise up and nourish and nurture and educate the next generation, and you see them sitting at a call center or a fast food or even being a teacher of other students, I would say being a mother, being at home with your child, it actually takes more than being a teacher of 30 students.
Get his point there. Additional supply without additional
drive
demand
down
wages. Everybody says, why can't you do this on one salary?
Right.
Well, what if you could get two people for the price of one? Because women are just as... I'm going to play a couple more minutes of this, but...
Well, you can tax women, but you can't tax them.
That's what I'm going to put. You tax, and for the taxes.
Yeah.
And this was FDR's doing.
Yeah. If they're at home, you can tax.
To help pay for... chicken?
Yeah. She's fine.
It's too late for a chicken, isn't it? No. Okay, good. No, it's not too late for a chicken. Just like, is that a chicken? Help me. But no, we have to realize with the invention of the Federal Reserve, they had to keep the Ponzi scheme going. And the whole idea of, make sure your kids go to public school and don't worry, we'll babysit them so you can go to work so that we can keep the Ponzi scheme going of Social Security.
Yeah.
And keep you stuck on the government rolls.
Absolutely.
The people who take care of the kids, the daycare workers and so on, and we will just tax and tax and tax, and now you can barely raise children with two salaries, whereas in the past, 60 years ago, you could raise many children with one salary.
Right.
And can you imagine any situation wherein a business that fails to deliver a popular or compelling or useful or helpful or purposeful product, a business that failed to satisfy its customers, would then have the virtual right to drug those customers who complained or who were distracted or who were bored and restless. Can you imagine?
He's talking about like Ritalin.
Imagine if
ADD.
I did not need to win your attention with reason and passion and evidence, compelling speech, good arguments, but rather you had to pay me whether you liked it or not. And if you didn't like what I had to say, or you clicked away, or you didn't subscribe, well, I would have the virtual right to just drug you. Can you imagine such a situation? We have gotten so used to this way of doing things, to this way of...
So go ahead, and I don't know if Michelle can drop the link in there, because that was one of the most compelling and interesting videos I had seen. in a long time.
Yeah.
I actually just listened to it while I was doing work around the house, and I could listen to it again. I could just sit there and listen to it again because it was so good. It just fed my soul.
Yeah.
To hear somebody else saying.
To hear a man say it, too.
To hear somebody else saying what we've been saying for years, because this is what you end up with these school shootings and messed up, minds. And
I put it in the description, and I just dropped it in the chat. In the chat here, Stefan says, I just learned that the state of New York allows killing babies after birth. Is that true?
Yes. Well, no. Up to the third term. It's up to third term abortion. And up until, and so the question is, what if the baby's born alive?
Right. Well, okay, so up to the third term, literally to the day of birth.
To the day of birth.
As long as the child is within the mother's body, fully formed, no difference about whether it is connected to the mother's body or not.
Right.
Totally viable.
It was the governor of Virginia who was posed a question. What would you do if a botched abortion happened and the baby was born alive? And he said, well, we would make the baby comfortable, and then we would discuss what would happen to the baby between the doctor and the mother. We would discuss whether we would try to resuscitate or whether we would just let the baby die.
Right.
And that is post-birth
Well, and
abortion.
that's the thing. Hang on. Well, do you need to explain for people that aren't aware that a baby needs to be quote unquote resuscitated after it's born.
Exactly.
You kind of have to
get the goop out of its mouth.
Yeah,
slap,
kind of make sure it's crying and stuff like that. Whether you let it sit there and suffocate in its own fluid that's within its mouth and not make sure that it's breathing.
Right.
It's murder. And so when he said that, he actually was just saying what most, I would say, abortion doctors actually probably have done before. Okay, we've heard horror stories of doctors drowning babies in saline solution to suffocate them if they're born alive and breathing. It is these abortion doctors don't see a difference.
Right. Speaking of abortion, this week, and there's so many stories I wish I could have gone live about, but there was I think his name is spelled, I might have spelled it wrong. There was I just spelled it wrong. Brian Sims. This is, he was a Philadelphia state representative.
Jerk.
You could call him that. And he went
harassing people praying outside of an abortion clinic.
And he wanted to dox a couple young girls, and I want to play for you the video, which actually went viral, but it looks like the rally, pro-life rally, is totally
okay, we can just tell them there was a lady probably in her 60s or 70s just outside quietly praying, and she kept walking back and forth, and he kept getting up in her face, not really in her face, but like following her
bigots.
And saying all these awful
offered
things.
Money to get the addresses of underage girls so he'd go to their houses.
Wow.
And to dox them. And let's see if this is it. Let's see. Nope. I want you guys to see a clip of what he did. See if I can.
That's weird. Live action sharing it and it won't play.
I know.
Oh, it's so weird. All the videos we want to share won't play. You know that Patriot Gallery talks to the people in the box? She yells at them. I know you're listening.
I know. I have to find a way to get internet working on my computer down here because it's really frustrating. Here, I'm out now. It's just totally not fun.
So anyway,
the ones I do have going are, here's Abby Johnson.
It was a response to it.
Yeah. In one day, they organized an entire rally, a pro-life rally at this abortion clinic. Abby Johnson went, Mike Cernovich went, Jack Posobiec went, Matt Walsh went, and it was organized just like that. So here's Abby. If you guys
haven't seen Unplanned yet, you need to see it.
Yep.
Also, the antithesis of feminism to look a woman in the face and to tell her you are not strong enough to be a mother. You must choose between motherhood and your career. You must choose between motherhood and your education. Well, I'm standing in front of you today as a woman who is literally today 37 weeks pregnant. And I did not have to give up my education to be a mother. I did not have to give up my career to be a mother. It is time to refuse to choose. We will not choose between one or the other. We will respect both women and their children and their femininity and their reproduction and their fertility. And we will continue to do it until clinics like this no longer exist. And every woman who walks into a physician's office is actually treated with love and respect and care.
On YouTube?
Anywhere. YouTube, Twitter. Well, there were two teens that he tried to dox. And the mom of the teens, Brian Sims Harass, has filed charges.
Is it this one?
That's the one he apologizes for.
He's in the same shirt there.
You're probably not going to find it on YouTube. I don't know.
No.
There, maybe that one. Try that one.
Planned Parenthood of Southeastern Pennsylvania. They have to deal with people like this every single day. They deal with people out here every single day telling others what's right for their bodies. But we're not going to let them get away with it. Absolutely not. No, man. Don't hide. Don't hide. You're publicly protesting women coming to a Planned Parenthood. It's something they have a right to do. Don't hide from it. Don't hide from it. Have the courage of your broken convictions if this is what you're going to do. Everyone, this is what they deserve and this is what they need. Every single time any of us walk by something like this, we're letting them win. We're letting them think that they are right, and we know better. These people have no business telling anybody else what's right for their body. They have no business telling people of color what they think about what they do with their families, with their own family planning. This is disgusting. This isn't Christianity. This isn't love. This isn't support. This isn't kindness. This is the hiding, shameful face of those that judge at Planned Parenthood. And it's disgusting.
So, and then there's one where he doxes teenagers.
Well, I want to address something that he said there. He tried to use a race card. Excuse me, sir. You're a white male. You're not allowed to use the race card.
Okay.
But I am, hang on, before you play it, I am allowed to say you're actually wrong. Because those of us that are pro-life are upset that what is the percentage of abortion clinics that are in inner cities that are predominantly black? And we also know that Margaret Sanger's motivation for the abortion clinic was to eradicate the black race. So don't play the race card that Christians are trying to tell black people what they can and cannot do with their bodies. Christians are trying to say, we're trying to save black lives. So, there you go.
I am outside the Planned Parenthood in southeastern Pennsylvania. Oh, no, they're leaving now. What we've got here is a bunch of protesters. A bunch of pseudo-Christian protesters who've been out here shaming young girls for being here. And so here's the deal. I've got $100 to anybody who will identify any of these.
Can you believe that? He just said...
So I'm going to donate to Planned Parenthood. I'm going to donate to Planned Parenthood. So look, a bunch of white people standing out in front of a Planned Parenthood, shaming people. There's nothing Christian about what you're doing. Nothing Christian at all about what you're doing. Nothing Christian or loving or godly about what you're doing. So I've got $100 to anybody who will identify this. $100.
$100 to anybody who identify those young girls who are just praying for the babies.
$100. It'd be easier if you just give me your name and your address. Come on. Rich, where are you from? Rich, what makes you think that it's your job to tell women what's right for their bodies? And the truth is, I'm not really asking because I don't care. Shame on you. Guys, Planned Parenthood out here faces attacks daily from people like this.
It looks like attacks to me. Looks like attacks to me.
Might be on the Democratic side, would you condone the behavior of this state representative, and do you think that it's acceptable that he remains in office, even though he's not apologized for calling on his followers to dox teenage girls who were praying outside the clinic?
I have a problem with doxing, but like I said, there's a larger issue up front. Let's talk about the real issue.
But should he remain in office? Should he step down for this behavior?
This is not what this segment is about, right? This segment's about how we ensure we can have a debate around a woman's right to choose or a woman's right not to choose. But
it's about the behavior of this.
Yeah, I've already been very clear that doxing isn't the way to go about it.
Okay, I want to ask you, what should be the consequence here? Because right now, this state representative is still tweeting his videos, threatening to dox teenage
This state representative is accountable to his constituents and no one else.
But should Democratic leadership in the State House, his own party, should they say that this is wrong behavior? Because they have been silent so far. It appears as if they accept the behavior and they think it's totally fine because there's been silence from all Democrats in the State House.
Maybe they feel, though, what he said today, and that two wrongs don't make a right, and his promise to do better.
He didn't apologize, though.
That was not an apology. He did say that he would do better.
Shannon, this is part of the problem. We are over here debating this small. We're over here debating this small anthill when in the state of Georgia we saw today the governor passed a bill to restrict the rights of women, knowing the fact that Georgia has one of the highest infant mortality rates in the country. But Republicans, you refuse to talk about that. We'd rather go off and have this conversation about Brian's case.
I think Lila would probably like to talk about that, but
I'd love to talk about that. But threatening to dox, this video has been viewed 4 million times. This is a state representative, an elected official, public servant, who has threatened to dox 3 teenage girls and harass them in front of a Planned Parenthood facility.
First of all, listen, we're out of time. We're out of time, but I would say, all right, we're out of time. It's going to go to commercial, but I would say it does sound that you agree that we can all agree that this doxing issue is not the way to handle this, and there are other
whatever. I mean,
oh my gosh,
that wasn't really helpful.
Wow.
Assaulting elderly women and even offering money for the identification and addresses of teenagers who were peacefully praying for the lives of babies that were being aborted in front of a Planned Parenthood in Pennsylvania. He came out yesterday with a video. I'm assuming with the massive amounts of reaction that he received.
It was a non-apology, by the way. It was like, I'm not really sorry, but the mom is actually going to file charges.
Good.
Let's see, the mother of teenage girls who Pennsylvania State Representative Brian Sims offered money to identify earlier this spring said she filed a police report against the Democrat politician. Ashley Garrett told CBS Philadelphia that Sims' aggressive behavior had her concerned for her daughters and their friends' safety. The girls are ages 13 and 15. Absent the pro-life issue, this was about an adult interacting with minors in an aggressive manner and an adult infringing on minor speech. I don't need an apology from him. I'm an adult. I've already forgiven him. She said she would like Sims to apologize to her daughters and their friend. Last week, he posted a video of himself berating the sidewalk, kids at the sidewalk. Her request suggested that the state representative may have been trying to intimidate the 13 to 15-year-old girls through doxing, a practice where a person's name and contact information are posted publicly online, usually to encourage harassment. Garrett said she did not realize that Sims was a state representative until early this week when the videos went viral. Lawmaker or not, no grown man should act that way toward any minor under any situation. Asked if she felt in danger, she said that Sims had an imposing physical presence. Garrett repeatedly said her biggest concern was for her daughters and their friend. The video that Sims posted online showed part of his interaction with Garrett and the girls who were praying outside. What we've got here is a bunch of pseudo-Christian protesters who have been out here shaming young girls for being here. So here's the deal. I'll give $100 to anybody who will identify these 3, and I will donate that to Planned Parenthood. And I will donate to Planned Parenthood. His actions may have violated consent and cyberbullying laws. Remember, Alex Jones and all these people are off of Twitter and Facebook for much, much less.
Yeah.
Going up and saying, I'm going to help me dox this person and harass this person. So, Metro Weekly reports state lawmakers spoke out against Sims' behavior on the House floor this week. Sims' behavior, as well as that of several other elected officials mired in their own controversies, drew on an unofficial rebuke from both Pennsylvania House majority and minority leaders, who, without naming anyone, urged lawmakers to tone down their rhetoric and be more respectful for each other. Let's see, Sims released a statement Tuesday saying he did not apologize for his behavior and said he chose to attack pro-life advocates even more by claiming they slur and attack Planned Parenthood patients.
You know, what's really disturbing to me about this is them trying to say that by praying outside of a Planned Parenthood facility, that somehow you're shaming the people going in. When, whether you are pro-choice or pro-life, if you're a sound-minded person, we should all agree that killing a life is not the best answer. Okay, we can rate the other answers. Okay, now obviously as Christians we believe that killing is never the answer. That being said, the fact that they can't even agree that, you know, what happened to making abortions safe, legal, and rare? You should actually be encouraging people that are standing outside of Planned Parenthood facilities saying, listen, there is a better way. You can offer up your child for adoption, or we can help you be a mother if you want to. These people are not pro giving these young ladies choice. They only want these ladies to have one avenue, and that is killing their child. Right. Whereas it should be totally encouraged, not just accepted, but encouraged as a pro-choice person to have people outside of a facility and saying, listen, there are other options. There are people that are willing to help you if this isn't 100% what you want to do. Because to say that every single woman that walks into an abortion facility is proud and confident and wants to make that decision, that's a lie. I would say that the majority of young women or any aged women that walk into an abortion facility don't want to have to do what they are doing. Right. And so to offer them choice, we are pro-choice. These people that are standing outside of these facilities are pro-choice. The people that are saying that they're pro-choice are pro only giving these people one option. You must kill your child, and that is the only option that you have. We aren't allowing you to have any other choice. Whereas these people that are standing outside of these abortion facilities say, listen, we want you to be pro-choice. We want to offer you other options. We want you to be able to choose the best decision that is right for you. So let's have a conversation. Let us tell you about people that want to adopt your child. Let us tell you how we can help you financially and emotionally and spiritually and physically be the mother of this child. It sickens me. It makes me so angry. Leah, I took them outside. It makes me so angry that these people that are touting being pro-choice are actual liars.
Right, but
they don't want these young women to have choice.
Right, but I'm so excited because I don't really want to talk so much about them because I couldn't believe that they did this rally.
Right.
The good news, I mean, like, seriously, this is what looks like to be winning. This could have just been like a Twitter thing, and we could be yelling at it and be upset about it for months and months and months and months.
These people physically gathered. Like you said, it happened almost overnight.
Yes, and they all got on airplanes
like thousands of people to come to Philadelphia.
So here's the mom.
The firestorm of this week, I want you to know that I am so grateful. I'm so grateful because we are here today to witness the tangible fruit of incredible effort. Right. And I know that there are people who have been doing this work for decades and that they are not always given the gift of seeing the tangible fruit of their work. And so I am humbled and I am so incredibly grateful that here together we stand and we see the fruit of this work, that it matters, that God is moving in incredible ways, and that we're just along for the ride, that we are standing on the side of angels when we are here.
This, between, you know, Gosnell and Unplanned and the pro-life movement has just turned a corner.
Yeah.
To we're coming together. And it's just absolutely powerful. Where you have so many big name speakers showed up today. Lila Rose, who is LifeSite News, Matt Walsh was there. You had a lot of people from The Blaze there. You had just people from all over. And I'm just so excited that this happened. And I'm so excited that, you know, sometimes the greatest triumphs happen from the greatest persecutions. And so kudos to all of them who showed up.
Yeah.
And
you know what's kind of funny to me? Somebody had said this in the chat. Like Donna Terry says, I will never understand why men, the male sex guys, have such strong opinions when they cannot produce an offspring. Well, actually, I believe that the argument should be that men have every bit as much of a say in what happens to the child that comes from their body.
100% of the times, 100%, men are involved in 100% of all births.
But
100% of
the left love to say,
or conception,
you, white male, can't say, I can't have a say in what happens to my body. And yet this guy, this Sims guy, is a homosexual male.
Yeah,
who will
really
never
doesn't
give
have
birth
any say.
and will never actually have a woman have a child.
He really doesn't have a say.
He is so far removed. At the same time, in society, everybody should have a say on whether we kill people.
It's called humanity. It is.
And whether you're a man or a woman, you should have a say in that.
Exactly. You should definitely.
Whether it should be legal to kill. Somebody had said earlier in the chat, and I'm sorry I missed your comment, but that babies are the most innocent and should be the most protected.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see. A couple more kind of things I want to talk about today. How much time do we have? Let's see.
Well, it's 15 after. Excuse me.
Yeah.
We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. It's 7:34.
All right. I don't know which kind of gears I want to switch
Oh
to.
my gosh, Jim Jordan. I love him so much. I want to be his best friend. Like in real life, I want to be his best friend.
I do too.
He's from Ohio. I think that could be like a possibility. Like we could hang out.
So I don't know if you guys know about. I'm going to get to Jim Jordan in a second. Stick with us. Did you guys hear about 60 doctors and pharmacists who've been charged in the largest opiate prescription bust in history?
No way.
Well, you're not going to hear about it because my internet won't bring up my article.
But you can tell them about it.
Yeah. So when it comes to heroin, how many of you know that most people start on heroin through
opioids? They're through drugs like
Percocets and Oxycontin. And a lot of these doctors knowingly became just making money off a prescription after knowing that there's funding, knowing it's for drug addicts.
Right.
So, federal prosecutors charged 60 physicians and pharmacists this Wednesday with illegally handing out opioid prescriptions in what they say is the biggest crackdown of its kind in U.S. history. Some of the doctors are accused of trading drugs for sex, giving prescriptions to Facebook friends without proper full medical exams, unnecessarily pulling teeth to justify writing pain pill prescriptions.
No.
A list of indicted medical professionals include podiatrists, orthopedic specialists, dentists, general practitioners, and my favorite, nurse practitioners who just hand them out like candy.
Mm-hmm.
Prosecutors said that specialties and methods varied among the accused, but the result in every case was the same. People addicted to pain medication received dangerous amounts of opioid, including oxycodone, methadone, and morphine.
Wow.
They said the illegal
You can get morphine these days?
Put as many as 32 million pain pills in the hands of patients.
Wow.
A special strike force from the U.S. Department of Justice began making arrests early Wednesday, primarily in rural areas across Appalachia. We're part of the Appalachian area, the foothills of the Appalachia, which has been especially hit hard by addiction to heroin and pain medication. One of the doctors charged is Raymond Noshtang, an internal medicine specialist with an office in Sycamore Township. The names and indictments of many of the accused were not immediately available. Many of the defendants faced charges of unlawful distribution of controlled substances involving prescription opioids. Authorities said they gave out 350,000 improper prescriptions in Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, and Alabama. Prosecutors described the doctors involved as drug dealers rather than medical professionals, and they said they were seeing a total of about 28,000 patients at the time of their arrests.
Oh my gosh.
If so-called medical professionals are going to behave like drug dealers, then we're going to treat them like drug dealers. The defendants are accused of writing or filling prescriptions outside the course of medical practices and prescribing them despite having no legitimate medical reasons to do so.
Wow.
The Appalachian Regional Prescription Strike Force included more than 300 investigators from jurisdictions in 5 states. Though targeting illegal prescriptions was a priority, federal officials said it wasn't their only goal. In a first-of-its-kind effort, the federal criminal investigators are linking with public health to try to guide those who receive the rogue prescriptions into addiction treatment, which we know all too well is so incredibly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, there's not a lot of hope. There's hope after addiction. There's not a lot of hope, especially even with Jesus. There's not a lot of hope. Okay, so let's stop it from happening for more people.
Right.
Because once you get down that road, it's really hard coming back.
It's like, and I said this to a friend yesterday. When you become a drug addict,
yeah,
it's almost akin to being bitten by a zombie.
It is. It's
the
very
thing
much,
that I hate about zombie movies is that it's
back.
impossible to come back
right.
From having been a zombie. In order to come back, you need the miracle working power of Jesus and or an amazingly strong support base and system of people around you and a miracle. Any person that was a drug addict that is walking clean today is a walking miracle. But I will tell you that even the strongest of minds that stay clean have to go to AA meetings constantly. It's a constant fight. Right. It's a constant battle for the rest of their lives. And we're not treating the opioid crisis like what we would if it was an outbreak, right?
Oh, like measles, right?
You know, seriously. Because if we did, the same people that are telling you that if your unvaccinated child is in a public place, you're going to get arrested or fined, would be supporting Donald Trump building a wall, stopping these opioids from getting into our country.
Right.
But they're not. And they're not treating it seriously when the epidemic and the death toll, and not only the death toll, but you can't put a price tag or any kind of quantification on the mental and emotional toll that it takes on the person and their family and their friends. Okay? Nobody is talking about that. It's not okay. The gun control rallies that happen at these school shootings, they're a joke, in my opinion. Okay? Because it's as unfortunate as it is when a child dies from a school shooting. Why is it that life is far more important than the life of the drug addict?
Right. Almost 218,000 people have died from overdose related to prescription opioids from 1999 to 2017, with 5 times higher in 2017 than in 1999.
That's just prescription opioids.
And this is from Cincinnati.com because we've been hit the hardest, I think, if not one of the hardest areas. So, speaking of Ohio,
I'm not going to utilize our recent situation. I'm just not even going to talk about it because I don't even know all the facts. But because of something that happened recently and a life that was lost, it caused me to do some research. And in my research, I discovered that you could be completely clean. You can have your life back on track. You can have a wife. You can have kids. You can never think about drugs ever again. And you can be that on track. And all of a sudden, you can have a heart attack and go into cardiac arrest because of what happened to you while you were using and what happened to your body, the damage that was done.
Right.
Okay? So it also makes me angry that nobody's talking about that either. It's something that's not talked about. This is an assault on our nation. This is an assault on people. And we look at a drug addict and instead of having compassion and love, we just treat them like some bum on the street. And well, if they overdosed, then they deserved it because that's the decision that they made. Well, unless you've ever been addicted to an opioid, don't talk. You don't have room to speak. Because from what I understand, and I don't have room to speak, but from what I understand, the need for that again surpasses anything that you can imagine. Anything that you can imagine. Okay? It's like needing food. I mean, seriously, like I have to have it. I am hungry. I have to have it.
Right. All right. So, as Democrats in the House Judiciary Committee, led by Chairman jokester Jerry Nadler, voted to hold, get this, our Attorney General William Barr in contempt on Wednesday.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
One Republican superhero was not having it.
Jim Jordan.
During a heated diatribe during the vote, Jordan refused to yield and instead accused Democrats of trying to punish Barr for vowing to expose the corruption by the Democrats in the deep state during the campaign. He says, I will not yield. Let's see. I want to... Jim Jordan, don't mess with him. He's got his facts laid out for everyone to see. Matt coming in the door.
Probably.
Of course, my video, wonderfully not coming up right now. But, yes, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Democrats, after they couldn't impeach Donald Trump, they want to hold Attorney General Barr in contempt.
I know.
This is
and Jim, are you going to play the Jim Jordan video? Because he could just explain it all. Oh, okay. She's trying to bring it up. Because what he says is, listen, these people have a lot to hide. That's why they're going after Barr. Because they are afraid that he is going to uncover the truth. And if anything speaks loudly enough to show you that they have something to hide, it's the fact that they're going after Barr. I mean, this is absolutely insane. Totally insane.
I'm going to try to bring it up here this way.
While you're bringing that up, because our Patriot Gallery had deleted a comment, and I'm going to read it anyway, because I want to address it. Scotty says, no, opiates don't inflict major damage to the body generally. It's a very clean and safe drug if used right.
If used properly, right. But if you don't use it right.
So he says some of us have a lot of room to speak. Scotty, as somebody who knows intimately the people who have been affected by opiates. Now, like I said, the article that I read was people that inject opiates, okay? The issue that we have is not in using an opiate as a prescription drug to block pain. The issue
Many of you don't know that we had a young man come live with us we worked with him from 2013 till just last year. He's still, he was in and off, in and out. And that we volunteered and worked with kids every week.
Sometimes twice a week.
At a drug rehabilitation center.
For 7 months.
We had these kids in our home, young men in our home. We worked with them. We prayed with them. We counseled them.
We still have them in our lives.
We still have some of them in our lives. Some of them are doing well. Some of them are not doing well. And some of them are dead. Some of them that we know are dead. So we know this probably more than 99% of the world population. We know intimately the effects, the causes, the root causes of drug addiction and how these things come about. We have people who we have counseled who are gone now. There was a 1 year that Philip Seymour Hoffman died during a shipment of heroin that was laced with fake fentanyl, and we had a dear friend who died of that same shipment, that same nationwide. It was just a bunch of people just died like that, bam, dead.
And Britt Baza says my brother died from opiates.
And what it does is, and we recently know of another person who died not on drugs, but their body was broken because of the drugs that they took. And so that's what Michelle's talking about. They don't recognize
and so here's the thing. Here's the problem with what I have with what you're saying there, Scotty. Because Scotty says, I love the show and I know you're always here and I love that you're here and I love that you support our show. When you say things like that, and I think why Patriot Gallery probably deleted your comment, is it validates people that may be on the fence that aren't going to use it safely. So you might as well, and you probably shouldn't say it. Because you could be held responsible before God for influencing someone who is not going to be able to use it safely. Okay? Does that make sense? So it's better to not say those sorts of things.
You're not telling people to not take oxycodone or painkillers when their doctor prescribes them for a needed situation.
Right.
We're talking about doctors who prescribe them. These people, they snort them, they crush them, they chew them, and they take them not because they're in any pain.
Right.
So I think I have at least part
Scotty
of
says, I was a hardcore addict for 3 years. I'm set free. There's many factors which need to be addressed separately to have an understanding. I could not agree with you more. And congratulations. I'm very, very, very happy for you.
But there's damage done to your body if you were a hardcore addict abusing it.
Right.
And so what we're saying is that's something that people haven't addressed. Your heart, your arrhythmia. People go into cardiac arrest. They have heart attacks for the damage done to their bodies.
Right.
I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to go through a detox type program where you detox your body cells. How would you do that? There's a lot of different ways. There's high dose vitamin C you can take. There's beet kvass. There's There's a lot of different things you can look on how to detox your body to get those things and get your cells repaired that were damaged.
Yeah.
We all saw the commercials. This is your brain on drugs. It's actually a literal thing. You do fry brain cells. Not just brain cells.
Yeah.
That's what they don't tell people. You hurt your body's organs. But Jesus can heal it. I don't want you to think that God can't heal it, but you do the same thing. Do the things you can in the world and let God do the rest.
Right. And I think also one thing that's been heartbreaking for me is that people who are recovering addicts and are not on drugs anymore, they think that's all they need to do. I'm set free and I'm good. Well, guess what? You may end up dead within 10 years because your body failed. And so it's really important, if you are a recovering addict, to make sure that you are monitoring. We would say with a homeopathic doctor, but if you can't get a homeopathic doctor, have your health monitored by a medical professional. And seek out.
But we don't want to speak death over people.
No, but what I'm saying is it's an awareness issue that I'm just now discovering. It's something that was never talked about, and so I want to get the awareness out there.
I think it's coming out because
watching.
Of somebody that we know just died this week, recovering drug addict, young man from cardiac arrest. And so what Michelle is saying is that it's on her mind right now.
Right. And
she started to research it, and you began to show up that you can hurt your heart, you can hurt your organs.
Right.
And he shouldn't have died. And I don't know what could have helped.
Right.
I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm just saying that maybe it's something we need to discuss.
Right.
Is detoxing and cell regeneration and good food and farming and all those kind of things.
Bingo. And also finding encouraging videos like Jim Jordan.
Yeah.
To make you happy. Whoa,
well, I know. I'm on a cord. Every time I move this chair.
Democrats are going to hold him in contempt. I don't think today's actually about getting information. I don't think it's about getting the unredacted Mueller report. I don't think last week's hearing was actually about having staff question the Attorney General. I think it's, as my colleague said earlier, I think it's all about trying to destroy Bill Barr because Democrats are nervous he's going to get to the bottom of everything. He's going to find out how and why this investigation started in the first place. Never forget what Bill Barr said a few weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago when he testified in front of the Senate Finance Committee. Said a lot of important things, but he said four very interesting things. First, he said there was a failure of leadership at the upper echelon, term he used, upper echelon of the FBI. We all know that's the case. Director Comey's been fired. Deputy Director McCabe.
All right, that was not the whole clip that I wanted to play.
There was a big wrong. He kept going on and on. It was awesome.
I know.
Here you go.
Of course, it's not going to come.
Oh, come on.
He's done a lot of interviews lately. I think, let's see, here we go. Jimmy.
I shared it on my personal Facebook page.
Here it is right here. This is what I want.
And it won't play.
But, Scotty, I am so happy for you. Please don't take this as personal. Michelle's just actually kind of been going through something. When she gets on a kick like this, don't take it personally. Because even I'm like, calm down, Michelle. She's just trying to say that, opioids are not harmful to your body.
If you can use safely. But you know what? They can hardly ever be used safely.
As a drug. You can take opioids.
No, exactly. But if you're a drug addict, the way that I was reading it was, listen, you can recreationally use opioids and it can be safe and you're fine.
That's not what he was saying.
I know, but that's the way that that's why Resistance Chicks Mama deleted the comment, because we don't want somebody else to read it that way.
So, Scotty, you can know that I knew exactly what you said and I would not have deleted your comment. You can just know that I wouldn't have. But some people see things differently, and that's why you watch our show. Because I know what you meant. But when Michelle's on in a mode right now, and like Jim Jordan's in a mode, and I can't play it, maybe you should find it.
I've got it on my. I'm trying to pull it up here, but I couldn't get into my Facebook.
Good, I'm glad you're bringing it up because mine is not coming up. We need to call the internet people. This is just not being helpful to me today.
Okay, let's get this pulled up here. All right, we're gonna switch over to Jimmy here. You can have this. Oops. Let's see. There we are. There he is.
I'm very proud of you for being clean.
$5 million with a whole bunch of Democrat lawyers putting it together. Why don't you wait and ask him next week before we do this contempt resolution?
Gentleman's recognized.
Bill Barr is following the law, and what's his reward? Democrats are going to hold him in contempt. I don't think today's actually about getting information. I don't think it's about getting the unredacted Mueller report. I don't think last week's hearing was actually about having staff question the Attorney General. I think it's, as my colleague said earlier, I think it's all about trying to destroy Bill Barr because Democrats are nervous he's going to get to the bottom of everything. He's going to find out how and why this investigation started in the first place. Never forget what Bill Barr said a few weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago when he testified in front of the Senate Finance Committee. Said a lot of important things, but he said four very interesting things. First, he said there was a failure of leadership at the upper echelon, term he used, upper echelon of the FBI. We all know that's the case. Director Comey's been fired. Deputy Director McCabe fired, lied 3 times under oath, according to the Inspector General. FBI counsel Jim Baker demoted and left, currently under investigation by the Justice Department. Lisa Page demoted and left. Peter Strzok, deputy head of counterintelligence, demoted and fired. Peter Strzok, the guy who ran the Clinton investigation and the Russian investigation. There was certainly a failure of leadership at the upper echelon of the FBI. Second thing the Attorney General said 3.5 weeks ago in front of the Senate Finance Committee. Spying did occur. Said it twice. Yes, spying did occur. Third, he said, there's a basis for my concern about the spying that took place. And maybe the most interesting thing, 2 terms he used that frankly I find frightening. He said there was, in his judgment, he thinks there may have been unauthorized surveillance and political surveillance. Scary terms.
Scary.
We got to go back to January 3rd, 2017. Senator Schumer on the Rachel Maddow show talking about then President-elect Trump says this. If you take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. Now, I don't know if the FBI went after President Trump in 6 ways, but I sure know they went after him in 2 ways. And the first one is the now famous dossier. On October 21st, 2016, the FBI used one party's opposition research document as the basis to go to a secret court to get a warrant to spy on the other party's campaign. That happened. Democrat National Committee, the Clinton campaign, paid Perkins Coie law firm, who hired Fusion GPS, who then hired a foreigner, Christopher Steele, who did what? Talked to Russians and put together this salacious, unverified document that became the basis to get a warrant to spy on the Trump campaign. They did it. And when they went to the court, they didn't tell them important things like who paid for it. They didn't tell them that Christopher Steele had already told the FBI and the Justice Department that he was, quote, desperate to stop Trump. And they didn't tell the court that Christopher Steele had been fired by the FBI because he's out talking to the press. They did that.
They did
and
that.
Second, just last Thursday, New York Times story, FBI sent investigator posing as an assistant to meet with the Trump aide in 2016. FBI sent someone in, pretending to be somebody else, to talk with George Papadopoulos, who was with the Trump campaign.
Spying.
You know what they call that?
Spying.
You know what they call that?
Spying.
It's called spying. They did it.
They did
They
that.
did it. They did it twice, and who knows how much more. And what I know is Bill Barr has said he's going to get to the bottom of it. And think about the term he used again. This is important. Political surveillance. In the United States of America. I will not yield.
I will not
Think
yield.
about that term. He's going to get to the, he said he's going to put a team together, going to investigate all this. This is critical. And never forget the guy who ran this investigation, Peter Strzok. Ran the Clinton investigation and then launched and ran the Trump-Russia investigation. Never forget what he said. Trump should lose $100 million to zero. We need an insurance policy.
By the way.
Told Lisa Page, don't worry, Lisa, we'll stop Trump. This is what Bill Barr wants to investigate. And as my colleagues have said, this is the House Judiciary Committee, with the history this committee has in protecting fundamental liberties and protecting the Constitution. Last week, there was another important document. Emmett Flood sent to the Attorney General. I just want to read a couple sentences. Under our system of government, unelected executive branch officers and intelligence agency personnel are supposed to answer to the person elected by the people, the president, and not the other way around. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's a matter of having a government responsible to the people, to we the people. In the partisan commotion surrounding the Mueller report, it would be well to remember that what can be done to a president can be done to any of us. And this committee is supposed to look out for that fundamental fact more than anything else. And we are not doing that today. I yield back.
Now I'm going to yield back. Now I did it. Jim Jordan is like, okay, so somebody asked, ladies, is he your representative? Okay, so Congress people represent districts. He does not represent our district, but I claim him because he's from Ohio.
Yeah. So, Representative Al Green from Texas made an appearance on MSNBC where he discussed the impeachment of Donald Trump, and he said this: "I'm concerned if we don't impeach this president, then he will get reelected."
Democratically,
by
the way.
Yeah, so...
Not through election fraud, not through Russian meddling, because that wasn't a thing. Through people
Green's admission
wanting
shows
him to be president.
The Democrats may not be as confident in their chances for 2020 as they would have you believe. Perhaps they learned their lesson from the 2016 election in which Hillary Clinton was supposed to give the big bad Trump a sound electoral drubbing and further validate the not-so-stellar legacy of Barack Obama.
Down. Hey.
What?
He's up.
What's going on?
We're growling.
Oh, because he keeps looking at our treat.
You want me to go get him one of those?
We're almost done. We're almost done.
We're pet sitting here at our house.
So now on to some funny stuff.
Hang on, wait, let me read this comment. Jay Dillon says, amazingly, President Trump has still gotten a lot more done than any other president in history, even though he's been pestered by traitors 24/7.
That's true.
Well said.
All right. So I've been on Twitter a lot. And I know you guys don't do a lot of Twitter, and I don't actually suggest that you do Twitter. It's a horrible cesspool of humanity where people just like yell at each other and like do these hot takes and like 120 characters, and they just like everybody tries to own everybody. However, there's a lot of cool things that happen there, and one was an AOC parody account, and they banned it. Now, just so you know, Twitter has a lot of parody accounts. Devin Nunes actually sued to get a parody account of him down, and he lost. It's still up. There's a lot of parody accounts. There's like 20 parody accounts of Donald Trump, but only the one of AOC was taken down, probably because it was too close. He was also Jewish, by the way.
Oh.
On Monday evening, I was removed from Twitter. I still don't really know why. I have my suspicions, but no one's really tried to explain it to me. I run the parody AOC press account, which had over 80,000 followers. It was pretty funny, even if I do say so myself.
But it literally says parody.
I know.
On it.
I know.
It's not even like he's trying to fool people.
Yeah. Exactly. It literally says political satire.
Unbelievable.
So one of them was, press release, we must block Trump from stopping the return of the heroic Alabama mother from ISIS. In many ways, she is more a hero than our veterans. Welcome home, sister. He says, and the fact is, as we move closer to the 2020 election, a number of high-profile, high-follower conservative accounts are being banned. In total, we have lost access to millions, if not tens of millions of impressions over the past few days. This is election interference.
Amen.
I'm not going to get into the legislative proposals or the theory behind the Communications Decency Act or the idea that platform access should be a civil right. Now, I wanted to actually kind of make this my title because conservatives have turned a corner and they are now on the offense.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes some people getting the axe. And I think Paul Joseph Watson was the one that everybody was like, okay, that's it. I got to get behind him, right? So now suddenly they're vicariously behind Alex Jones, which is absolutely hilarious. And I know that Owen Schroyer on Infowars was down. Like, you know, I would be down too. I would be, you know, but here's the thing. Their access was millions down a little bit. Ours was like tens of, you know, maybe 100,000 here and there, and then down to the, you know, how many we have tonight. But still,
we value each one of you that is here right now.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is I get it. I get why you'd be upset because I'm upset too. I'm upset. But I'm not letting it get to me because I realize that this is a bigger battle, and sometimes some of us have to take the hits to be able to say, this is what's happening. I actually kind of feel good that God allowed us to get in on it, to take the hit, so we knew what would happen. We wouldn't really know what was happening until we experienced it personally, the demonetization, the shadow banning, the fact that every once in a while I can get through on Twitter and get through a shadow ban, and suddenly I have, 100, 200 likes and a couple. That happened like once or twice, and I realized That's because I'm shadow banned. Otherwise, I would have a bigger following on Twitter. I don't know how. They got me early on as a small account, and that's what they said. The smaller the account, the more you're banned. Yeah. The more you're shadow banned. The bigger your account,
well,
the
but
less
here's
they
the
can
thing,
shadow
though.
ban
I want you guys to know something very fascinating about their technology. It's not just your account; it's your IP address. And so it doesn't matter whether Leah's signed into Mass Faith 3 or Resistance Chicks or we invent a brand new account.
I tried it.
You are still shadow banned due to your IP
so
address.
Let me give you an example. I created a different accounts, and then I logged on and I put something on an Elizabeth Warren's tweet.
Yeah.
None of them showed up when I logged out.
And you were logged into just a blank account or whatever.
Yes. So what that means is they make it so that when you go there, you see it. So it is the most deceptive manipulation of data. The thing about Facebook that I do like is if you make a comment, everyone always sees it. There's no shadow banning comments on Facebook.
Right.
The comment shadow banning on Twitter is something totally weird and cryptic.
But they're proud of it.
And they're proud of it.
James O'Keefe has exposed it.
Exactly.
Before you move on, though, because I know we're talking about AOC and we're talking about censorship, but before I forget, because I'm hoping you'll show this video.
The disposal?
So what says AOC that she does not know how to operate a garbage disposal is a joke. Nobody is that.
No, it's not a joke. Michelle can bring it up. I was trying to. Okay. And just as the AOC Twitter parody account was taken down, she brought up her own parody. Twitter, Facebook, and Google.
Was it a parody?
No. Etc. Rule the roost in Silicon Valley. To some extent, they compete with one another, but they also effectively act as a cartel. Neither Trust Buster Teddy Roosevelt nor Reagan, who broke up the telecoms monopoly, would abide this. There is something adverse and inherently at odds with Americanism, with how these corporates are behaving, and who.
That's the parody girl that did it, though, right?
No, but it's probably really funny if you'd play both of them, because just for the fun of it.
Okay, let me find the other one though.
I'll leave that one up, because that's going to be funny. There's a girl who's doing these AOC parodies, and I just love her to death. It's absolutely hilarious. So they're not led by thought leaders or responsible business people who have been around for decades and understand their real social and societal responsibilities. I want you guys to know this, and I'm going to cover this on Sunday. Poland, there's a company in Poland who is actually suing Facebook on the grounds that it's a utility to make platform access for all. So he says, I don't know if it was because it was too funny or too on the nose with my parody of AOC, but it certainly seems these platforms are intervening on behalf of Democrats in an attempt to stack the decks next year. Today, the president's favorite meme maker, Carpe Dunkdom, lost access to his Twitter account for 12 hours. These attempts to stifle and silence the megatypes will surely end in disaster. Message to Jack and Zuck. You're forcing us to get our SHIT together to fight back against you, so thanks, I guess. Now I just hope President Trump is ready to fight ready for the fight his base is already taking part in. I'd be silly to say we're disappointed with the lack of action so far, given this has been going on for years, but I hope and pray the president has a plan. He seems to have had one on everything else in his term so far, so I don't doubt there's something bubbly beneath the surface. The thing is, if he doesn't, it's not just his supporters and his election chances that are screwed. It's America. This is a nation which reveres at its core the rights of individuals to express themselves politically lawfully. Incursions to our God-given natural rights will be met with fierce resistance, because if we don't keep the flame of liberty alive, no other nation right now in the world will. And that is a responsibility towards mankind that we simply will not let Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey trounce. And I'm going to play another little clip when we're done here, because it's really important to me that the co-founder of Facebook said it's time that we broke up Facebook, because he said what happened with Facebook, I have goosebumps all over me. Everybody says go start your own Facebook, but actually what Facebook did is they buy up startup Facebooks. Yeah. And they put MySpace. Remember MySpace? Mm-hmm. They put MySpace out of business. Justin Timberlake tried to buy it and try to keep it going, but they put Facebook is acting as a monopoly, putting all these other social media things. If there was still a MySpace and it was still big and big and big, I could say, okay, Facebook, do your thing, because people might gravitate towards a MySpace or something like that. Right. If there was something comparable, but because what they've done is that Facebook has become the existential Walmart of political.
I don't know though. Walmart doesn't go up and buy grocery stores, as far as I know.
They do. They go, but see, mom and pop stores all around
they
shut
closed down, but are they actually buying them up?
No.
you know.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
They're
You're
not
not ready for this.
They're not
It's
ready.
not a parody. It's for real.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, I need your help because I just moved into this apartment a few months ago and I flipped this switch and it made that noise and it scared the daylights out of me. I am told this is a garbage disposal. I've never seen a garbage disposal. I never had one in any place I've ever lived. It is terrifying. I don't know what to use it for or what its purpose is. Like food scraps? Like, is this environmentally sound? I don't know. Boo! No, I'm just kidding. I think there's a piece of glass down there.
Wow. Okay, so do you want to comment on that before I play the other one?
No, just play the other one.
Okay.
I can't. It talks for itself. Hey. Enough.
I am told this is a garbage disposal.
No, she's going to play it.
I've never seen a garbage disposal. I never had one in any place I've ever lived. It is terrifying. I don't know what to use it for or what its purpose is. Like food scraps? Like, is this environmentally sound? I don't know.
Got one. He stole it.
So, like, if this is environmentally sound, it could be like a really great place to put my policy proposals. I don't particularly understand what this thing is. It appears to be a big metal triangle. I plugged it in and it's just sitting here not doing anything. So I also found this in my new bougie apartment and I don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. And I mean, like, I don't know anything about it. It looks like really old and there's a lot of writing and it's just like, I'm gonna be honest with you right now. Like, if there's no pictures in it, I'm not gonna read it. And this device is terrifying too. Like, what purpose does it serve? I mean, it just sits here and you pull a lever and it's just a water machine. Like, it literally just spins water down. That's wasteful. I mean, I'm common folk, just like you. I can't be, understanding these modern day contraptions. I literally have no idea what this substance is, like, falling from the sky. But, I feel like I should ban it with the Green New Deal. Hey guys, I don't usually sit on the floor, but I will in honor of AOC. If you liked this video, don't forget to follow and like my page. Okay. Also, you can subscribe to my...
Awesome.
Okay, so yeah, I don't really have much else to say.
Hang on though, for those of our viewers that are probably saying the same thing that I said to you when I watched it the first time, is she joking?
No, she's not joking.
I mean, I get it. She's trying to seem relatable, but I think she's actually lying. I don't think it's a joke, but I think she is lying, trying to convince people that...
we grew up in apartments that were as poor as all get out, and they all had a garbage disposal. Even government housing had a garbage disposal.
They didn't all have dishwashers.
I know.
AOC, I want to tell you something. It would have been far more believable
if you had said,
I don't know how to use
a
dishwasher. Because none of the apartments that I have ever had have one of these machines. And is this even environmentally, actually, they do say you save more water using a dishwasher, but then you have to use electricity. So it's a 10 of one, 20 of another. But To say you don't know what a garbage disposal is, like you never watched television. I mean, I remember being a kid and you watch Home Improvement and Tim the Toolman Taylor is like beefing up the garbage disposal.
This is a blender. How does it work? This is a waffle maker. I mean, seriously, I live under a rock.
Yeah.
And it is embarrassing. Okay, so why is Facebook founder Chris Hughes saying it's time to break up the company? And I'm going to end with this.
Together, we founded...
Here we go.
This is me back in my college days. And this is my roommate, Mark. Together, we founded Facebook in 2004. Now, 15 years later, I think Facebook has grown too big and too powerful. Every week brings new headlines about privacy violations, election interference, or mental health concerns. I haven't been at the company in over a decade, but I feel a sense of responsibility.
Yes, you do.
Privacy violations, election interference, or mental health concerns. I haven't been at the company in over a decade, but I feel a sense of responsibility.
Hey, I know, you're responsible. Play for me. I'm going to have Michelle bring up all videos from now on.
We need new regulations. It's time to break up Facebook. The early days of Facebook tell a classic American story of innovation and entrepreneurship. From our college dorm room, we started a little social network for our friends that exploded in popularity and connected the world. Mark's hustle in those early years made it possible for Facebook to dominate our rivals, like Friendster, MySpace, Tumblr, and many others. These competitors made us better, and then we beat them out. This is how it's supposed to work in America. Hard work leads to economic success. You start a small business and compete on the merits to provide a better product. Today, nearly 3 billion people use Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and they're all owned and controlled by the same company. Of every dollar spent buying ads on social media, 84 cents goes to Facebook. It's now worth over $500 billion. That's roughly the size of the GDP of the bottom 65 countries in the world.
No way.
Combined.
Oh my gosh.
It's not just that Facebook is a really big social network, it's everything. When a single company dominates any market, they become susceptible to abusing their power. Social networking is like most other American industries. There used to be plenty of healthy competition, but now many industries are controlled by just one or two companies. Companies often create an illusion of choice. You think there are hundreds of beer brands out there, but they're all made by one or two companies.
Exactly.
Why is this a problem? Well, when companies get too big, they get sloppy and careless. And that leads to things like poor privacy practices, enabling foreign actors to meddle in elections, the spread of violent rhetoric, fake news, and the unbounded drive to capture more of our data and attention. I often hear people say, "I'm shutting down my Facebook account. Thank God for Instagram," not realizing that Instagram is owned by Facebook. People are powerless in this situation because there's nowhere else to go. Monopolies stifle innovation. Facebook snatches up competitors by buying them before they get too big, or by copying their innovations. Despite all the money and hype being poured into new startups, there hasn't been a single major social media platform launched since 2011.
That's crazy.
The harm goes beyond the economy, though. It goes to democracy itself. When
in the age of technology that cycles so fast,
are stripped of power.
Your old news
Facebook's
yesterday.
Employees write complex rules called algorithms that decide what you see in your newsfeed. Facebook can decide what messages get delivered and which don't, and what exactly makes for violent or inappropriate content. Even Mark himself has said that he and the Facebook team have too much power over speech. Facebook does have a board of directors, but Mark owns the majority of the shares. Unlike the leader of a democracy, there are no checks and balances on Facebook. Mark has no boss, and he cannot be fired. Listen, it'd be great if Mark could fix this himself, but this, ironically, is a problem he cannot solve. We need the government to intervene with two steps. First, the Facebook empire needs to be broken up. America's regulated corporate empires before, and we can do it again. This isn't unprecedented. And surprisingly, it often boosts the value of these companies in the long run. Federal Trade Commission can force Facebook to unwind its acquisitions of WhatsApp and Instagram. Then we'll see real competition around social media and digital messaging. Breaking up Facebook isn't a punishment for its economic success. It's a way to guarantee that other blue companies can compete.
This is why Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Jones were taken off Instagram right away. Like, Paul Joseph Watson, all he did was post pictures on Instagram of him and his girlfriend feeding ducks or something.
Unbelievable.
But, so he didn't violate, obviously, anything on Instagram, but because it's connected with Facebook, that's why he's down.
Yeah.
We also need a new government agency to protect Americans from the overreach of Facebook and other companies like it. Think about it. We don't trust airlines or pharmaceutical companies to regulate themselves, and we shouldn't trust social media companies either. We need basic privacy protections and the ability for people to move their data around as they please. Right now, Facebook makes free speech decisions on its own with little accountability. Instead, we need government to set guidelines, not Facebook employees in Menlo Park. I don't think Mark's a bad guy, and I've made this decision to speak out because I feel a sense of responsibility for what Facebook has become. And, to be honest, I'm angry that Mark's obsession with growth led him to sacrifice security for clicks. I think we all want to live in a country where David can take on Goliath, where a kid with a smart idea in a dorm room can start a billion-dollar company. We've strayed from that ideal, and breaking up and regulating Facebook will help put us back on that path.
Wow, that's really powerful.
It is, and I know a lot of libertarians are like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to break it up? Why are you talking about the government? Why are you talking about the government? I don't know the answers, but I'm saying right now, we got to do something. Something has to happen. We're talking about...
okay, but I want to tell you guys something that to put you libertarians at ease, all right? These conglomerates, whether it's Facebook or whatever, you have the illusion of choice in society. But it's these rich, crony, whether world leaders, politicians, wealthy people that you've never even heard of, that go and sit in a room and do illegal things that squash your freedoms. Okay?
What if I told
it's
you
like
that
a
they
mob
know
or a
it's
mafia.
Wrong. What if I told you that they know it's wrong?
Yeah.
Did they know that
these are the same people that touted Russia is interfering with our elections, and yet they go and interfere with our elections.
Exactly.
It's totally wrong. Okay. Right. The United States government is meant to protect the rights of individuals.
Right.
And that's not happening when we don't have an Internet Bill of Rights.
Right. An Internet Bill of Rights.
Because if you want to be a libertarian and say, listen, we shouldn't even have the Bill of Rights, then okay, you have the right to say, I don't think we should have an Internet Bill of Rights. But if you think that we should have a physical Bill of Rights,
right, then you should have an
Internet Bill of Rights. It really does boil down to that. Now, we're going to sign off here, but before we do, I want to show this absolutely lovely,
beautiful bouquet.
Beautiful
for Mother's
bouquet
Day, sent from our Patriot Gallery
from Robert Bone.
Thank you, Robert.
It was absolutely beautiful. He sent today
carnations,
roses. I think that's fuchsia in there, and all sorts of other things.
It's really pretty.
That I don't even know what they are. But you made her day, and he said it's from the Resistance Chicks family worldwide. So Robert sent this in the name of all of you who watch Resistance Chicks, so you can thank him for. Sending our mom a happy Mother's Day bouquet from you guys. So thank you sincerely. And that's also a good reminder for those of you in the United States to remember that it's Mother's Day on Sunday. So remember your mama. I was listening to the radio today, and they were asking what mothers want, and one mother said, "Stop asking what I want. That's what I want," because it proves lack of innovation. So instead of saying, "Hey mom, what do you want for Mother's Day?" think of something.
There's a dog down there. We got some dogs here with us.
All right, you guys. We're going to sign off here. We love you. God loves you. God
Happy
bless.
Mother's Day to all of you moms out there.
Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
We want you to like. We want you to comment. We want you to subscribe to both of our channels.
Mass Faith 3.
And Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell so that you get notifications. You may or may not get notifications, but you can at least try. And we'll be back on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news.
We have a P.O. Box. Did you do that?
We have a P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. If you send us your letters, we will read them on air. All right. Good night and God bless.
All right, guys.
I was cold, all alone. No place for